Hi, my name is Lore, I'm with TankSpot.com, and I'm going to be guiding you through the Sartharion encounter with all 3 of his Drake minions left alive. This is widely considered the most complicated and challenging encounter available in Wrath of the Lich King release content. For starters, let's take a look at the pull. Sartharion is standing here. You'll want your tank positioned here at the end of this little peninsula, and the rest of the raid up around here. You'll want to start the pull by having a hunter misdirect Sartharion down over to your tank. Once he's reached him, the tank can slide Sartharion around like so, and then the raid can move out to fill up the rest of this area here. This makes dealing with the flame walls very simple. When a wall comes from the north, the raid collapses into the center, and the tank just slides over to his right a little bit. When the wall comes from the south, the raid can move into either a ranged or melee position, and the tank doesn't have to move at all. This positioning not only eliminates the chance of someone other than the tank taking damage from Sartharion's breath, but also gives you the largest area to work with when dealing with the Drake adds, and makes things a little easier on the tank when the flame walls come from behind him. Now on this particular kill, I was assigned the job of tanking the 3 Drake adds, Tenebron, Shadron, and Vesperon. The first thing you'll see is that when Tenebron is about 15 seconds from landing, and using deadly boss mods to keep track of that, I'm going to head over here to be ready to pick him up when he lands. Tenebron will be tanked where he lands, clear over here at the west edge of the platform. Here, the tank will be able to avoid the firewalls simply by stepping side to side next to him, and of course melee DPS will do the same. Now as you can see, I'm having to dodge a firewall as soon as Tenebron lands. This one is coming from the south, which means I have to turn Tenebron toward the raid for a moment. It's important to remember that each of the Drakes have a breath attack as well, and although it's not nearly as dangerous as Sartharion's, the raid should still avoid being in front of them. Also, since I've been moving to avoid the firewall, I haven't had much time to build threat yet, so DPS has to be careful to avoid pulling aggro here. While all this is going on, 1 or 2 other tanks should be picking up any whelps or lava blazes that spawn. Now there's another firewall coming, this one's from the south again. As soon as this second firewall passes me, I'm going to drag Tenebron down over here where Shadron is going to land soon, and melee DPS will follow. By this point, Tenebron should be nearly dead, allowing me to focus on getting a threat lead on Shadron as quickly as possible. This is the first big DPS goal of the encounter. You need to be able to finish off Tenebron and switch to Shadron quickly, or you'll be overwhelmed when Vesperon joins the fight later on. This is also the ideal time to use Bloodlust or Heroism. We've got another firewall coming now, this time from the north. Once it's passed, I'll be dragging Shadron up over here, near where Vesperon is going to land. While Shadron and Vesperon are both active, not only will everyone's health be reduced, including the main tank, but Sartharion's breaths will be doing so much damage that your main tank will need any available cooldowns to survive, such as Pain Suppression, Guardian Spirit, Hand of Sacrifice, and of course anything the tank can provide himself, such as Shield Wall or Icebound Fortitude. This is why Death Knights are the commonly preferred main tank for this encounter. They simply have more emergency buttons available and with shorter cooldowns. This is the hardest part of the fight. The tanks are taking tremendous amounts of damage. Twilight Torment is active, which means all of your DPS is taking extra damage as well. The weight of this part of the fight rests largely on the healers to keep everyone alive, and the DPS to get it over with quickly. Now that Shadron's dead, the DPS is going to switch away from killing Drakes for a moment and help the AoE tanks clear out the blazes and any whelps still alive. After that, they'll take the Twilight portal to kill the acolytes inside. Since there isn't much happening out here for the moment, I'll show you a clip from a different kill which I attended as Retribution. The acolytes don't hit terribly hard, so any plate DPS can tank them easily as long as they have a healer. You want to kill Vesperon's acolyte first, as his debuff is far more dangerous. Once he's down, just finish off Shadron's acolyte and you'll automatically be ported back into the fight. Once the acolytes are dead and the people inside are ported back out, they'll receive a short buff that makes them immune to fire and shadow damage. This helps avoid accidental deaths by immediately being hit by a void zone or flame wall, which you can't see while you're inside the Twilight Realm. However, if you're hit by a flame wall, you'll still end up taking a few ticks of the damage over time effect, so it's a good idea to slow down DPS on the last acolyte if a flame wall has just spawned. Now that the acolytes have been killed and the DPS are back outside, they'll turn their attention to killing Vesperon. At this point, the most difficult part of the fight is over with. Sartharion's breaths are still doing a large amount of damage, but it's no longer enough to completely one-shot a tank from full health. Since there isn't a whole lot to see out here anymore, I'll give a couple quick tips. First, if you go into your video settings and move the spell detail slider all the way to the left, it will remove a lot of the extra graphical effects such as Death and Decay or Consecrate while still leaving the void zones visible. Also, notice how my scrolling combat text is moving at the sides of my character and not down the middle of the screen. This lets me see the area I'm standing in clearly. Finally, if you type out or macro this console command, you'll be able to zoom your camera out much farther than normal, which lets you see where the flame walls are coming from very easily. Vesperon is dead. We're going to make another quick pass at the flame blazes just to cut down on some of the damage the AoE tanks are taking, and then we'll hop in the portal to kill the last acolyte. Once that's taken care of, the fight is basically the same as it's done normally, with no drakes active. Just dodge flame walls and kill the boss. Obviously, there's a lot going on in this fight, significantly more than I can effectively cover in the time span of this video. There's also a few different ways to approach the fight. This is simply the way we do it. So for more information, please follow the link in the movie details or check the Project Marmot forums at TankSpot.com.